Well, Russia has responded to the US's actions, denying any involvement and calling the decision ungrounded. The Russian embassy in the UK responded with a tweet calling the Obama presidency a lame duck. In the statement, they said that President Obama expelling 35 Russian diplomats in Cold War déjà vu. Everybody, including American people, will be glad to see the last of this hapless administration. Let's get more on the story and speak to Peter Mathews. He's a professor of political science at Cyprus College, joining me from Los Angeles. Peter, many thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, thank you.
Let's start with the US's actions against Russia, these sanctions that they've imposed and exposing these diplomats. How damaging are they really to Russia?
The sanctions that were put on today by President Obama are not that damaging because the GRU, the military intelligence of Russia's chief, and his assistants who are sanctioned, they don't travel to the United States. They don't come here very much, and they have no bank accounts here, no property here, so it's not going to really affect them much at all. It's more symbolic. And I'm waiting for the report that's coming out, the more detailed report from President Obama within the next 3 weeks that will give more indication as to whether there's real hard evidence about the hacking or not. That's still up in the air. I'm going to read from the New York Times. It says, especially evidence collected from implants in Russian computer systems, tapped conversations and spies. That information is expected to remain classified. So you got a problem here of credibility. If the government of the United States is saying that the Russians hacked the DNC and other sources, then they have to provide evidence, real hard evidence, and they haven't done that yet. And so that's a real problem as far as investigation goes. The Congress is calling for an investigation that's more of a public investigation that might reveal a few more things. But Ryan, it goes back to the trust between the United States and Russia, and that goes back to NATO and what happened when the Cold War was over. The U.S. agreed to not expand NATO to the borders of the former Soviet Union, and yet just a few months afterwards, after Gorbachev went ahead and agreed on getting rid of unifying Germany, that was part of the German unification stipulation. Once it was agreed to unify Germany, and it was supposed to implement that the United States would not extend NATO into the borders of the former Soviet Union. The United States actually did, in fact, extend NATO to the borders of the former Soviet Union and brought in the 3 Baltic republics, which are part of the Soviet Union, against the word that James Baker had given to Gorbachev about that. So that started the problem of mistrust right there. And then you wonder why Russia has been so defensive about what NATO might be doing, and then the kinds of actions that subsequently follow have to be explained in that context. They shouldn't be taken out of context.
So what do you think is going to happen next? Because Russia has said in a response, and I quote, it will formulate a response that would create a considerable discomfort in the same areas for the United States. What kind of response is that likely to be?
I don't think it's going to be a major response, because I think what Russia is going to do is to wait till President-elect Trump becomes president in just less than 3 weeks. And when that happens, President Trump has said already he wants closer relations with Russia. He wants to cooperate with them, especially in the war against terrorism, and he wants to have more trade relations with them. It's going to be more of a thaw, and there's a faction in the United States government that does not want that. They don't want warmer relations with Russia for some reason or the other, and part of it has to do with the Defense Department and the military-industrial complex, which makes a lot of profits off of the Cold War type of mentality, off of weapons being sold around the world and built up and arms built up against Russia or with Russia. So there's a real chance for change here with President Trump coming in, at least with the U.S.-Russia relationship. And President Obama made a parting shot as he was leaving but maybe Obama really believes that they hacked the DNC. But here's the other question. The information that was put out there that was hacked, ostensibly, was it accurate or not? Did the DNC, in fact, take the side of Hillary Clinton against Bernie Sanders? Was there a malfeasance going on in the Democratic primaries that was reflected in some of these hacked emails? And the answer clearly is yes. So that should be what the public should be focusing on, mostly in my view.
Okay, many thanks for that. Peter Mathews, Professor of Political Science at Cyprus College, there live from Los Angeles.